get started. This is a regular scheduled board meeting for Edgewood City Schools. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Here.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Here.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Present.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Here.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Here. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Let's pray together. Lord, we thank you for our community. We thank you, Lord, for this school system at Edgewood. And we're grateful for this school board, Lord, for our administrators, our superintendent and principals and teachers and staff that are committed to the growth of our children. And I thank you also, Lord, for the public here tonight, Lord, and for their interest in our school system. And I ask that you bless this meeting tonight, Lord. I ask, Lord, as this board discusses, as it decides, as it votes, I ask that your Holy Spirit will lead them. May their decisions bless our students and all of our school system. We invite your presence here tonight, Lord. And Lord, I would just pray too that if changes come at a federal level that affect our states and our school systems, that you would give our school board and our administrators, Lord, your wisdom and your guidance and your courage to navigate the changes. And finally, Lord, we pray for our students. We thank you for them. And I ask that you help them grow and learn and develop in character. Bless their parents and their families as they raise them. And so again, Lord, we give you this meeting tonight. We invite your presence here. And we pray this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. It's a little exciting for us to have everybody in here this evening. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our regular meeting here. This time I'm going to look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second. I went first.
Mr. Andrew Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next up, we have presentations this evening, which is probably why most of you are here. But we're going to start with Mr. Tom York, Butler Tech representative.
Thank you. It's always good to see a full place with kids, right? And I think, Andrew, you guys should arm wrestle for who got the first. Yeah, okay.
Arm wrestle.
All right. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to talk about Butler Tech. There's been some news that's important, and that is that they have a new superintendent, John Graff. Under his resignation, he's going to hang on for a while to help with the building projects. There are a lot of building projects going on, and Dr. William Sprankles is the new superintendent. So, and that's it's significant because I don't know how you guys know, but John Graff has really led the Butler Tech into some tremendous growth and accomplishments. And the reason that I'm really proud of that is because John is a Edgewood grad and sat in my social studies class when he was in 10th grade. And I didn't have anything to do with his success at Butler Tech because of that. But it's just fun to see our Edgewood kids go out and be very successful in their professional lives. So John's going to be around. He's going to see through the building projects. But William Sprankles comes from the Princeton area. And he's done a lot. He's got a great relationship with Miami University. One of the projects that we have going on is together with Miami, and Mrs. Spivey knows that I love Miami. It's my alma mater, but they don't always like to work with public schools. So they are, and they're doing a great job. So we're thankful for that. We have two projects that are going on, building projects. One is at the Bioscience Center, basements have been poured, the walls are there, and they're ready to continue that. We also have a project going on at the Middletown Airport, and if you drive by there and you see some ground that's being torn up and excavated, it's for our building that's going to be there. What's holding us up right now? And that project is ODOT has to decide if they want the driveway 26 feet or 24 feet. They're having a hard time figuring that one out. So eventually they'll get there and we'll be able to continue with that. The other thing I want to talk about is the program that's going to be at the Knightsbridge facility in Hamilton. Part of that, a big part of that is going to be a 3-year program for students. And Mr. Gagan said that Edgewood's had a lot of interest, and he thinks maybe interest is bigger this year than ever before. But those programs will offer a 3-year program in, let me read it here, I'm looking at my tiny little screen on my phone, but they will have a 3-year program in the Health Science Academy, Aviation, Engineering, Information Technology, Precision Machining, and Welding. So there will be, you can go as sophomores to that program there in Hamilton and finish with, most of the time these kids are finishing with associate's degrees, and in our bioscience program they will eventually be able to finish with a degree in nursing. So it's making some great strides. Right now, the political gods are smiling on career tech education, and that's a good thing, and it hasn't always been that way. And so, but a lot of neat things going on. Any questions?
Can you help them out with that 2 feet on the driveway and get that?
It seems to me was make the difference 25 and we're good to go. Thank you.
I would like to just say, so impressed with Butler Tech, all the programs they brought in, the innovation. I'm sure Mr. Sprinkles will do a great job, but those are big shoes to fill. Mr. Graff has really have watched and observed Butler Tech grow under his leadership.
Just an example, Tuesday night, when we had our board meeting last week, we had 3 students present. 2 of them were committed to going to Ohio State. They both had 36s on the ACT. So, you know, when we were teaching and in school, if you wanted to lay masonry and you wanted to build houses, that's where you went to school. But today, engineering, bioscience, and both of those kids are going to Ohio State, full rides. You know, that education, when you go with a 36 on your ACT, a perfect score, that education is probably worth $500,000. So parents, $500,000, no student loans, and it's quite an accomplishment. And we can do that. We've got 36 ACTs sitting here, and I know that for sure because I've seen these guys. You probably got 36 of you ACT. So thank you.
This one did not. So
Me either. You had to put SAT and ACT together, it might have been 36.
Thank you, Mr. York.
See ya.
that's some good math. Our next presentation, I have to tell you, we have some champions in the room this evening. Looking around, and like you said, there must be something good going on. And when we win, this is how we can pack the house. So real pleased to turn this over to Mr. Clements. Would you like this?
I'm just worried about your pictures. It's like I always say to any meeting I get a chance to talk about our students, where it's always a great day to be at Edgewood, and it's these young people here that make that the reason why, especially having 2 teams that did their competition on the mats this year. One group with arm bars and small cradles and single legs and double legs, and the other group with flip flops, and and all kinds of different things on the mat. But it was impressive to watch both groups compete this year. So at this time, if I can have all the middle school wrestling young men come down here in front of the stage, please.
You come on down, all the way down, please. That's awesome.
You can be close. These young men did a great job this year and brought home a first place finish at the SWBL league competition over at Franklin this year for us. And just a great group of young men, great coaches. Coach Short back here, raise your hand. Coach Hawkins did a great job with this group. And as we all know, when you think about wrestling and some of the sports nowadays, it's a very physical, hard sport. These young men put a lot of time and effort in that, not just for Edgewood, but as you'll see, many of them, if you pay attention to social media in the next couple of weeks, they'll go on to compete in some other wrestling competitions throughout the year. So very excited for them. At this point, just want to pinpoint some of these young men that placed at the league championship. So we have first place finishers, Graham Gerhoflich. Sorry, say it for me again. Gerhoflich. Sorry, Gerhoflich. Graham Gerhoflich. There you go. Step forward there for us. Easton Ballinger. Kyle Cook. Bentley Gibbs, our first place finishers. Second place. Second place, Braden Caudell, Evan Buchanan. Fourth place finishers, Corbin Sargent. And Landon Arnold. Congratulations on the great season, young men. We look forward to seeing you guys here at the high school next couple of years and bringing home a few more league championships for us. Thank you, and parents, thank you for allowing us to have the opportunity to coach these young men. And once again, we look forward to seeing what great things they do in the future for Edgewood. Thank you, young men. Middle school girls, you guys want to come down front now? Another great group, a lot of time and effort in what they do also, not just in season, but they're all the season, time they spend with coaches, learn perfecting tumbling and all those things. Coach Clemens, Coach Damasco, thank you guys for your time and effort with these young ladies this year.
I'm just curious, Scott.
Yes, ma'am.
Tumbling and all those things, is that all you picked up from your wife over all these years? Tumbling and all those things?
Here's what I've learned is you stay out of things you don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Don't get in trouble. So that's where I've kept that. I take care of the softball and the farm animals.
Okay.
She
I know
handles the
there's a
cheer.
lot more things, ladies,
Yes,
so thank you.
I stay out of things I don't know. So I've learned that. This group did a great job this year. Not only did they not only were they the first place middle school at SWBL, they were the grand champions of the middle school. Other accomplishments this year: second at the Franklin Rock the Gym, second at Carlisle Cheer Classic, second at Fairmont Cheer Challenge, first at the Monroe Bring the Steam, second at the Battle of the Borough at Springboro, and first place in grand champions at Beaver Creek Holiday Challenge.
That is impressive.
So very impressive. They're excited. We're excited. As you always look to advancement of sports, and an exciting day to see. The state doesn't still recognize this as an overall OHSA sport. There's a principals group that actually runs it as one, but it seemed today that gained a lot of steam over the weekend. That schools are saying we need to do this. So in the next couple of months, hopefully that group will get to present to OHSA, and it will become a truly sanctioned OHSA sport that they'll compete for a state championship moving forward. So we're excited that this young group here will probably get those opportunities to do that moving forward for the state of Ohio and for Edgewood City Schools.
Thank you, ladies. I'm impressed. That's quite a bit of competition. So I used to coach. I know when you feel all that stuff. Good job.
See something.
Yeah.
That's not great. Let's see something.
I said coach.
So some of the ladies here, Victoria England, Rivers, Reagan Cardell, Addison and Brooklyn Clemens, Tyler Kitchen, Maddox Barton, Ryan Jones, Billy Oliver, Michaela Richardson, Isabel Ruff, Jordan Swartzel, Mackenzie Williams, and Kendra Winger. Once again, ladies, great job this season. Look forward to some of you guys went to the high school next year and continue our great tradition here. Now that we've started, a lot of expectations now though, right? Keep working hard, keep getting after it, and hit. I think I hear you guys say that right. Yeah. See, I got something right. There we go. All right, thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, parents, for bringing your students out. We appreciate it. While we're transitioning, I just want to let the board know you did receive a last-minute walk-in paperwork on an overnight field trip. Evidently, it was turned in late. We do want us to add it to the agenda so our kids can compete, and I apologize for the delay. We'll get into that, but Gary, if we could have a revised agenda when you get to that place. But on that note, Mr. Gagan is here this evening with his administrative team, and their challenge was to bring us up to date where they are. Our strategic plan is around learning and engagement, and let me tell you, every time at the high school, they are working, and very busy and very visible. So we can't wait to see what you have to share with us this evening.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for having the high school present. And before I get started, I know I couldn't do this by myself. I have two talented administrators with me, Ms. Cassidy and Mr. Vanden Enden. They've been welcome additions to this team, and they're going to present as well. This is just not a one-person show. We have students, we have everyone involved. And really, I want to thank you as well, because reflecting over this year, your positive vote about the cell phone ban has had tremendous impact on the school. Kids are talking to one another. There's more engagement with staff and students. And I've been reading more and more about that's the growing trend for all schools across the country. So I want to thank you for that support. First of all, let's talk a little bit about school culture, and that's really kind of what is living and breathing in this building. And we have some pictures by Allison McKenna, who is our yearbook advisor, and there's pictures from White Christmas, which is our yearly pep rally that includes kindergartners, and it showcases our arts. We're excited to offer 3 new courses for next year. We're going to offer a 1960s course. We're going to offer a new English course, and the third course is an engineering course. But the new course this year that has had just paid a lot of dividends is this career internship course, which is a 2-period course that allows kids to explore careers if they want to pursue that after high school. And we have a lot of kids doing that. I think we have a total of 20 kids that participated this year. So we're excited by all of that. But again, this school is just a building. It's really a testimony of our kids. And we're going to have a couple of students present here. But before that, I want to also talk about, we have a new teacher from Princeton High School, and she's taught for 35 years. She was a rehire. And the best compliment I've ever received this year was like, Doug, I feel like my career has gone back 10 years. I'm just excited. The kids are incredible here. I just feel at home here. And the biggest treat she had was for her and then our other teacher from Oak Hills, Mr. Schroeder, they got to go to the ag room and see the baby goats. So if you haven't seen the baby goats yet, please see the baby goats. So I have Hugh and Michaela who are going to tell us a little bit about their experience last year and what high school has been like this year. Come on up, guys. Okay.
Some positive things I have seen this year is more student recognition with the student and the teacher of the month. There's better behavior this year with less like drama in the hallways, and then I also see the principals and administrators more throughout the school, especially during lunch periods and during class changes.
I'm just curious, did you get any money for these responses? That was really nice. That's really nice. We appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
I do have a question. Do you
Yes.
feel that the students are more respectful this year than you've seen in the past years?
Yeah. There's less fights and stuff, and then less problems in the hallways and drama.
Are we doing a little better with the PDA in the main area we hear about? Are we? Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name's Steve Riley. I'm a sophomore, and like she said, and like you said, there's a lot doing good, cracking down on the PDA in the hallway. I say there's much better communication and getting sports stuff out, like the daily or the weekly reports on what games are out, like volleyball, all the sports, and just knowing things like when we've got a delay, it's the schedule for it. It's just a lot better. And I know it was there last year, but it's just more frequent to me. And then there's like Mr. Gagan said, there's more socialization without the phones, and I think the grades are better based off of mine and some of the people I've talked to. They're a little bit better because we're focused more. And it's a more positive climate because now that we're off our phones, we're actually talking to other people and we're making relationships with our teachers. It's some of my teachers, they're just my age and just connected very well. And then administrators allowing the students to actually have a say in what happens and how it's changing and stuff. Like your youth council that I'm a part of, we talk about stuff that needs changed, made better, made taken a little bit focus off of to put on something else. So it's changed very well from last year.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's very
That's
nice.
good, yeah.
Thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your kind words. Now you know if there's anything else we need to know, just reach out. They have my email too. They know they can email.
Good luck. Good luck at volleyball.
Thank you.
Mr. Vandenham, would you like to do the next little piece about PBIS?
Thank you. I'm Caleb Vandenham, and I'm one of the two new assistant principals this year. It's been my first year of administration as with Ms. Cassidy, so we are learning a whole lot this year. Mr. Gagan's been a great principal and mentor to learn from, and we have just really been enjoying our year here at Edgewood. It's been cool to see all the change that's going on, and the change from teaching to admin can be quite a jump, but I think I feel like we're handling it okay. But the support of you guys and the support of administrators here has been really helpful in us to do that. But I'll go on. My part of this is talking a little bit about PBIS, which is our positive behavior interventions and supports. So this is something we do district-wide, but we're really putting extra emphasis on this year at Edgewood High School. And really what the root of this PBIS system is to recognize students for the good things that they're doing and help, add to that building culture. So we started doing this year positive referrals, which it's not a new concept by any means. It's something you definitely see a lot more in an elementary, middle school setting, but we said why not bring something like that to the high school too. So every staff member, administrator, teacher in our building has the ability to recognize a student and put it into our public school works, which is our discipline and behavior management system. So they can put a positive referral in for anything good that they catch their student doing. And it's not just that top tier of students that are always doing the right things, but it can also recognize the students that are improving things and showing growth in certain areas, behavior or academic.
Caleb, I think whatever gets attention becomes the focus, and you guys do a really good job sharing with the staff. We have this many discipline referrals, we have this many positive referrals. I think that frequent communication keeps that idea moving forward, so thank you.
So it's pretty cool for us. Anytime a student gets a positive referral, we as principals actually call them down to our office. We give them a little certificate with whatever message is that teacher put on there, and we give them a piece of candy, and it's really fun for us, especially as new administrators, Ms. Cassidy and I, to call kids down. They got that scared look on their face, like, oh gosh, what did I do? And we get to tell them about something good that's happening. It helps us build relationships with kids too. I think it's just it's been a really great part of this building culture. And from that, any student that receives a positive referral, their name's thrown in the hat for Student of the Month, and we get together as administrators at the end of each month look at all those positive referrals and then recognize one student for each grade. Hugh and Michaela were both sophomore students of the month in October and November. And then we help them up with a little swag from State Street Coffee. We give them a gift card. And then Nothing But Cakes in Woodbury Township, they both donate to that incentive. So it's pretty cool to work with some community businesses as well. We've got some incentives for each quarter. This third quarter, our incentive is all based around attendance. So at the end of third quarter, we're going to pull data on every student with perfect attendance, and we'll give them a little ice cream social or something at lunch. And so we're working to put more incentives in there to recognize every area of student achievement.
Looks like the staff had a little ice cream social to the left.
That was it. These are pictures. One was from our first pep rally playing Hungry Hungry Hippos, and the second was from White Christmas, the pie in the face that our NHS runs every year. It's a big tradition of that event. Moving forward, the PBIS, it really feels like, with 2 new admin the first year, a lot of firsts this year. We're really looking forward to moving forward. We love to see some more student input and meet more with our student council and things like that to get their ideas of what incentives and kind of things that they're looking for. We're going to continue with themes for each quarter based on the kind of time of year. So third quarter and winter months, attendance starts to dip. We really want to push students to get to school. And then moving forward, we're really just focused on student recognition and school experiences. So I hate showing graphs and data because it can be boring, but I think it is useful. We gave a school climate survey at the beginning of the year and in January. And so the dark green are responses from September, and it's the same survey we gave in January. It's on a 4.0 scale from students answer these 9 questions. I like school, I feel successful at school, etc. And I won't go through all this, but what really stood out is in September is that question number 7, students are frequently recognized for good behavior. That was our lowest scoring question of anything in this survey, and that was kind of the wake-up call to us, like, hey, we need to do something to make sure students are being recognized for good behavior. That's right when we started rolling out these positive referrals, and it was cool to see that jump from September to January. And we'll give this survey one more time in May to kind of collect it for the year, and then we'll plan on using the same data moving forward so we can compare next year to this current year, and in hopes that these go up. And then lastly, let's talk a little bit about discipline data. So we have really been hammering home with our teachers to use our public school works reporting system for everything. So they have, the cell phone policy is new this year. Every time a kid's caught with a cell phone, it goes into our discipline system. We log it, we track it, we take the phone. And so you can see throughout the months, that blue line is our office referrals per day throughout the year. We are as high as in the 20s in August and September. It's 20 referrals a day handled by 3 administrators. So you could tell our fall was really off to handling a lot of those referrals, but
They were testing out the newbies.
That's right. And so it's been cool to see that decline, and cell phones make up a lot of it. They're probably about 1/3 of the referrals we receive. So those are probably one of the more minor infractions that we get on a day-to-day basis, but it's been cool to see the cell phone usage go down as well. It's still not perfect, but I think it's been a really cool system that has been in place, and like Mr. Davis at the beginning, has added a lot to our culture. And then that pink line is our positive referrals. So we started at 0 because we weren't doing them at the beginning of the year, but it's been cool to see those come out to as many as 5 or 6 per day from our teachers. And so the goal with the rest of the year and next year is that these keep trending in the right direction, and our positive referrals go up and our office referrals go down. It's been cool to see this trend so far and track the data.
I think that's a pretty powerful slide. Any thoughts on why the positive referrals in December seemed to drop from November and then took back off again in January?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think part of it, we came back from Thanksgiving break and we were really focused on exams. I think through the teacher's perspective too, that sometimes this can be seen, while it's important, so what it's seen as one more thing to do, right? And we want to make sure it's an important thing that we want to encourage, but I know definitely the end of the semester is hectic for all of us, so yeah, it might have dipped a little bit, but we'll be curious to see what we do with that.
Are the cell phone issues a portion of your office referrals?
Yes, so everything, and that was one of our new policies. That's right, so like of the 20 per day in August, we were getting about 8 of those were cell phones.
That's been a pretty major driver in your decline.
Right, right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
And then Ms. Cassidy will be on MTSS.
All right, welcome.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm Allie Cassidy. I'm one of the new mentees as well, and it's been a joy so far this year to get to learn more about the community, to get to learn from all of the leaders here. I've really been fortunate to land here, so thank you so much. If you're not very familiar with MTSS, this is a system that stands for Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. So we're primarily looking here to identify kids who might be at risk of not graduating or who just simply aren't meeting the success in our traditional programs. So these students who are identified, they do receive a case manager. They can have a potential schedule change to build in more time within their day so that they can access those resources. We've utilized check-in and check-outs for students who maybe are having difficulty with emotional regulation or need a little bit more social support. And then we're also utilizing tutoring during edge time as well. These students can be referred by anyone in the building. And we've had a couple of parents refer as well who have just come in, hey, I'm concerned about my kiddo. What kind of opportunities do we have to support them? Our committee looks over these referrals and data from all of those teachers that the student has to determine whether or not they're going to send students into this program. They look at a number of different things to kind of identify what students might need additional support. And that can be academics or behavior. Sometimes it's discipline referrals. There's a lot that goes into it.
Now, Allie, before you jump to that, this looks a little more detailed than the previous years. Have you added a little more teeth to the MTS, or am I just seeing it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this is a much more structured system than what my
That's
understanding
what
is
it
that we've
looks
had
like.
last
Okay,
year.
thank you.
So we currently have 3 case managers that handle 27 students, and we'll look at that breakdown in a moment. So one of the systems that we've implemented to kind of help us catch some of these kiddos, especially those who are struggling with academics, is our new MAP screener. So this is a universal screener that is normed across the nation. So our students right now, they have taken the algebra, geometry, and reading test. And what we're looking at here is primarily looking at their growth. So we're gonna pull any kiddos out for this that have low achievement and slow growth, but what we're really excited to see is that we are seeing progress within our students. So this is only 2 samples. We'll test again in May to kind of see where our students are, and then we'll look at this data from the middle school as well to identify any freshmen that are incoming that might need some academic support. So far this year we've had 46 students that have been referred. 27 of those are currently matched with one of our 3 case managers. Of those 46, 4 of them have moved to our virtual academy. Our traditional school was not effective for them, and they and their parents made the decision to seek other options that most benefited them. 9 of our students were not eligible, so this could mean that they don't meet our metrics. Maybe they're only struggling in one class, but they have all A's in everything else. So that student wouldn't necessarily need additional help from the school-wide setting, but might just need some tutoring sessions with that teacher. 3 of our students have moved out of district, and 3 are being monitored to determine whether or not they need additional assistance. So this could be that we're waiting on referrals from teachers or data from teachers, or they didn't qualify, but they were right on that edge. So we'll check in with them in about a week or 2. Our case managers meet with these students at least once a week, sometimes more frequently, and they're targeting organizational skills, academic skills, and some social emotional skills to kind of help students, hey, when you're feeling X, here are some appropriate strategies to utilize.
All right, lastly, here's some more matrix. Thank you, Ms. Cassie. And I've said this before, I think this team that I have is kind of a perfect complement. Our strengths balance each other out, and our weaknesses balance each other out. And so there are some skill sets that they bring and some things that I bring. So that's why we're a good team. Last thing is just a few little metrics about what we have is, and here's some post-secondary data too, is 7 students are in the early college program at Miami Regionals. And what we've heard from Miami Regionals, and my wife actually works in Miami, is they love Edgewood students in this program. They're very successful. They have some of the highest GPAs. We started with 8, only 1 student came back, but it's been a great program. And these 7 kids, after next year, will graduate with Edgewood High School diploma and a Miami Regional diploma and get more funding to continue on at Miami Regionals. Also for AP, we have 9 AP courses. Last year, pulling the data, we had our highest number of students who scored a 4 on the AP exam in school history. So the scores go 5 is the best score, then 4, then 3. 3, 4, and 5 get college credit, and then 1 and 2 do not get
Was
college
that a
credit.
particular subject or across the board?
Across the board. So that's really good. 15 students in our inaugural internship course, and that has fluctuated a little bit, so we're getting some more students in there. And then also in March, Ms. Hobson's taking over for me. We have our Cougar College and Career Fair, where we'll have 40 businesses here in the gym, and they'll be willing to give kids either internships, work after high school, they could go to Spooky Nook. There's all those different experiences for them. So trying to create pathways for kids' success. And that's what we see at Edgewood High School as being a really launching pad for kids. Like, we don't want them just to finish high school and not know what to do. We want to funnel them either into a career, into the armed services, or into college. So, and then
Impressive, Mr.
Great.
Dagan. Any questions of our administrators?
I got a comment I'd like to make.
Sure.
When you talk about, and I thought it was great that you had 2 students up here kind of talking about their perspective, and that kids are more respectful, and that think, there's not as much drama and things like that that's in the building. And you've seen me in the building several times, and I get to go in there, and that's kind of the vibe that I get, right? It seems like it is a different place this year compared to the first couple years that I was on the board. And I've heard from several people who, like me, are on the outside looking in, and they've seen behaviors that kind of model what we're talking about here. And so what you're doing, I think, is getting noticed. I've noticed it. Other people in the community have noticed it. But I also wanted to comment on the chemistry that the 3 of you guys bring to the table, because anytime I've been at an event, either at the high school or some sort of a high school event, you guys are very present, very engaged. I see you over there, and I think a lot of the work that you guys are doing is making a difference. And from my perspective, looking at what's going on in the high school, it is a significantly better place this year than I think it has been in recent years. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and I notice the difference every time I'm in the building. Thank you.
Big compliment, take it.
I have one other thing, if I can just show you. So we do a senior hall walk, and when a couple times I have not been here, and Allie and Caleb have done them, but this is one that I got to do, and this is the premiere of Trent Stewart. And so what I do is I walk the halls with a senior for about a minute and a half, ask them 3 or 4 simple questions, like who's their favorite staff member at Edgewood High School, what are their post-secondary plans, what's a highlight of school. And it's neat to hear what our students say about their staff and their teachers, and saying, I think it was Trent or maybe another student that I interviewed said, all my teachers are approachable.
That's awesome.
And for me, that's the highest compliment to have. So this is about a minute, if I could trouble you with this. So, got older and I need my glasses because I can't see
Still mine?
anything. I got them right here.
I had to open the top and also do something.
There we go. Let's see.
Okay.
So Trent, you just set the record for bowling. What was that record score you had?
It was a 290 bowled on senior night.
Senior night. What a great memory. And you're still competing. What's the next golf match you have there?
My next bowling match is districts at Beaverview next Thursday.
Okay. And you're involved in a lot of different activities. Like you're a baseball player, you're a golfer, bowler, you're a DECA. What other things are you involved in?
Student council, and that's about it.
And so how have those memories, those different activities shape your experience here at Edgewood High School?
This has been a great experience, meeting all the teachers, different people I get to interact with every day. It's a great experience all around.
That is great. And what are your plans next year?
To attend Bowling Green to study robotic engineering.
That's great. And then part of this too, we talked earlier about this, like who's been a favorite teacher or coach, and what impact have they had on your experience here at Edgewood High School?
I'd probably say J.C. Dunaway, the golf coach. He's been a great impact, just the way he taught the program, the golf program, and the way he moved in around and helped us. Anything we needed, if we were struggling in school, not anything, he was just willing to help us out no matter what.
That's great. It sounds like you've got a lot of great memories here at Edgewood High School. And we're so thankful to have you here. Best of luck in your next bowling match and the baseball season. Edgewood High School, have a good day.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's
Do
great.
we put that on the website or market that in any way?
I put it on Facebook
That's
and
amazing.
Twitter, so work out well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Who's the golf coach?
Jason Dunaway.
Very nice. That's quite the compliment. Also, Mr. Gagan, as we're transitioning, I'll take that, thank you. Something the students talked about, and I know you and I have talked about it, and so I'm saying it out loud as accountability partners. We talked about how other schools do transitional days, and something nice for the high schools to consider taking a day or two where you have certain grade levels come in and really work with the grade level on character building and school climate. So that's something that isn't planned, etched in stone yet, but it's on the table for discussion. So, good job.
That's great. And thank you all.
Derek, if you could hit the lights up here, that would be great. Thank you.
Before we move on, I'm going to look for an approval to the agenda as amended with the walk-in. So moved. Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Sorry.
Mr. Andrew Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all. Next up, we have public participation. Mrs. Barnes, would you like to start, please?
Like say our name and all that.
Please.
Okay, Lori Barnes, Edgewood alumni and just a resident. First thing, I really want to say thank you, like, I know Mr. Philpott's not here, but to him for last month and to the 3 high school reps today, because one of the most frustrating things as I was a teacher for 35 years, one of the most frustrating things as a teacher to see and as a parent to hear when your children came home was that the good kids never got recognized. If you did what you were supposed to do, you didn't get recognized. And it was the kids that took that small percentage that took so much of the teacher's attention with behaviors and all that. So kudos to that. I think that's great. And I'm sitting here, I kind of giggled because I listened to the high school teachers. I'm like, oh my God, that's what, to give a certificate and candy. Everybody likes that. And then I also want to thank Mrs. Spivey because I did ask her for had some questions for her, and she was graciously enough to send me my questions because with the upcoming levy coming about, lots of people have different opinions and viewpoints and opinions of the school board members, of the treasurer, of the superintendent, of the teachers, etc. And I have been working my tail off at every event that I have been when people bring it up to really talk positively about the levy because it is crucial. It's a need. And however, like I said, there were some questions and comments that have been shared with me. And I do not want to spread misinformation, so I always tell them, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll go to the next board meeting and find out for you. And so here's just some of them. One of the questions was, with property owners funding, which I did not realize it was 41%, but that's a lot, 41% of the district's annual budget. Many of the individuals that were sitting at our table shared that they still felt like the board wasn't being transparent. And I tried to poke and prod about what they meant, and you could tell they were getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated. So I'm not sure how we go about changing that perception. I don't know if you would ever get it changed because I think anytime you're talking about somebody getting into their pockets, they're going to accuse you of not being transparent. And we can't have Elon Musk come in here and go over everything for us. So there just has to be that trust building, and they have to trust. But anyway, that was one of them. Another one, it was some of them felt like the levy was trying to be snuck through on the vote made, because there aren't any signs out. They're not a lot, you know, these are, I would say they're, well, I don't want to say I'm old because I don't think I'm old, but they're older than me. But there was a lot of people that at that time when we were at that table that did not have children in school, didn't have grandchildren in school, and they felt like this was trying to be, you know, just snuck through. And I assured them that that's not what it was, and that from my understanding from the last board meeting that there were so many laws that had to go through, and I did read some of the laws on the Ohio Revised Code, and some of them really, it was silly, that one. And then the big one they wanted to know was, they wanted a clarification about what, when the support for intervention resources, what those resources were. And my immediate attention went to, you know, in the classroom, tier 2 interventions. And I'm thinking, is that what they meant? Or did, you know, in the, what was in the minutes or the notes? Or was it more of outside resources coming in, having those extra things like the Hope Squad and things like that? So that was one thing that I would like to have clarified so I can go back and tell these people. And then another big one was they were inquiring as to if the levy does not pass. We know that there are going to be significant cuts. Do you guys have an idea yet what those cuts might look like? So if you could address any of those, because you know, I don't want you to think I'm complaining or passing judgment, because I'm not. I'm just trying to convince people who have notoriously voted no on levies to change their mind. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a teacher, I will always be a teacher, and I will die on a hill for a teacher and a child. I'm an alumni, and this district was good to me. I think I was very fortunate that I came through Edgewood, I think, in the best years. That was, you know, the years of Tom York and Terry Shanky and Gary Willis and Tom Besley. I mean, I just can't imagine a child not being able to have teachers like I had. And it sounds like we're getting teachers like that. So, you know, I just think I had the heyday, and I want every kid to have that heyday. And I have grandchildren that are going to be coming through this school. And I just don't want just my grandkids to have the best. I want every kid in this community to have the best. So any light that you can share at this time?
Well, I'm gonna stop you with that. Later on, I mean, you can reach out to Patty and Kelly both here.
Okay.
It's something that we're still working on as a board, so some of them answers are not even available. Kudos to you if you're going to try to get a no vote or vote yes. So
well, there's a lot of farmers that live by me, so we have to do that.
We just want the yes voters to come out and vote.
I know that's what you want. I mean, I know, but I also know that those people that I talk to, they do vote no and they do vote. So, you know.
I'd just like to offer, I know you're on a time constraint. First of all, you can come in and talk to me anytime. We'd be happy to sit down and give you my perspective. Of course, it's always the board approval. And then secondly, I would love to come to a meeting, coffee chat, whatever. I have to be very careful of putting any information out. As you can tell from the sheet of paper that I started, when you saw it compared to what the attorney took out. Rules have changed, laws have changed. We cannot advance, we can put out the message that we're on the ballot. We have to be very careful of what we say.
We have to be careful of the message.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that don't only just apply to these
No,
two, it applies to everybody sitting up
Are we
here.
officially on the ballot though?
Yes, we will be on the ballot on
Okay,
May
so it
6th.
is official now.
It is.
Alright.
Okay.
And we'll have a community meeting as well. It was scheduled for March 20th, and we'll talk about, are we revising that date only because we want to get legislators there. There's a lot more than just the substitute renewal that needs to be discussed. It's possible state cuts and federal cuts that would reorganize what education looks like today.
I got that. I'll just tell everybody right now, it's being discussed. All right.
Without answering her question, Gary, if I could I take just a second to share some insight? So, well, first of all, for the transparency piece, I think anybody on this board would be glad to talk to the community members. I've put my personal cell phone number on Trenton Talk and said, call me. I will talk to anybody that wants to have those conversations, and I will be as transparent as I can. But the one question that you asked that I really wanted to kind of share some insight on was if for some reason the levy doesn't pass, what the cuts would be. And I just want to kind of share my perspective on that. And the last time that a levy failed, there was a period where we were coming in here to have the meeting, and I literally laid awake in bed at night, just absolutely sick to my stomach about what we were going to have to potentially do. And I remember that night that we walked in here to come up on stage and we were going to vote on what got cut and what didn't. I literally was sick to my stomach because I knew no matter what we did, it was going to have negative impacts on the district and more importantly on the kids. So I literally walked in here and I didn't know what was going to get cut. I didn't know what was going to stay, and it was really one of those things that we talked it out and we hashed it out on the stage. And I don't think any of us knew really how the vote was going to turn out, and I don't think we were all necessarily on the same page, but I do think that really the whole process worked, and that collectively with the decisions that we had to make, the 5 of us voted, and I think at the end, I think we represented the community very well, and I think that we did the best we could with what we had. So saying what will get cut right now, I don't think anybody up here could even shed any light into that. I think it'll be a process just like it was last time. But it is, I'll tell you, as a board member, that is a very tough time when you're sitting there and you're thinking, I just don't even know how am I going to vote on this? And you got so many people calling in and talking to you about different things, and you're getting different perspectives. It's tough. It's a hard decision to make.
No, totally respect it. Now, like I said, I just wanted to share with you what I've heard, because I know I would not want to be in your guys' position at this point. And I'm sure everybody's anxious and
Scary times ahead,
Yes.
for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim? Is it Shoe?
All my life.
I will. Please state your name and address, please.
Kim Shue, 661 Townsend Place. So I have a thank you. The students were up there and I said, yes, things are getting better, there's less fights and everything, but my son was the victim, Wednesday. But what impressed me the most was I couldn't address it on Thursday, school was closed. I arrived at the high school at 7:30, asking to speak with the admin. Right then and there, I had 2 of them. Coming up with creating immediate intervention for the problem. And I left there, I'm like, okay, because the history, Edgewood's history was that there's going to be a fight, both students get suspended. My son is getting ready to sit for his welding certs. I can't have him suspended. I need him at Butler Tech. He's on the hybrid program. So then we go through the weekend. I actually reached out to a Butler County who so graciously, and I didn't realize he was going to do it. He called Officer Robinson at home on a Saturday. I come, and then I sent word with Chris this morning to see if Officer Robinson would call me. Immediately called me. Caleb Vanderman, superb communication. I emailed Kelly on Thursday. She emailed me very quickly. She escalated it. On Friday, I spoke with I met him, and then I spoke with him one more time on Friday. And then today, not only did I speak with Officer Robinson twice, he also called me. Caleb called me. And to tell me that the investigation was completed. Yes, my son's no angel. Okay, I'm not one of those parents. Okay, my son's not an angel. And he's got a mouth on him. But I knew that he was the victim, and I wanted to make sure that it was, how the word of mouth is in schools, and they run their mouth and blah blah blah. I came in and I firmly but politely said, my kid's the victim in this one, and if something happens, and they reassured me that every situation is looked at individually, and then the steps are taken. So I did hear the outcome, and I'm very pleased with it. far as I'm concerned, a threat has been removed from the schools. So I just want to thank you. The communication was superb.
Thank you.
Like, it was more than I actually thought it would be honest.
Well, your children are our children.
I mean, and
We
you,
do
I don't
take
know
that
if you
serious.
remember
I
when
do.
you first came.
Oh, yes, I do.
We came in, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But it was just, I just had to feel like I need to tell you
Well,
guys, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I do have a suggestion for the school, but I
Absolutely.
don't know if you guys are gonna like it.
That's all right.
Because I just said my son has a mouth.
Mhm.
And sometimes his filter's not in place. Your male students who like to dress differently are going into the other bathrooms, and my son will put them in their place. He has. He will remind them of their anatomy.
There's
So
laws.
I'm just saying.
It's okay, there's laws that say, if you recall, 2016, laws changed saying they could go into restrooms. Now the law is, as of February 26th, that should never happen.
Of this year?
Of this year, as 2 days, today's
In 2
24th.
days?
As
It will
of,
change?
effective Wednesday, that is
Because
not, yes ma'am.
Mr. Bacon can tell you my son. I mean, he likes to push buttons. I'm not that parent. I will tell you. I do not have a perfect son. But I try to keep him on the straight and narrow and get him a good education.
Told me it's 2 days.
So he has got 2 days.
That's not to happen, yeah,
Yeah, I mean.
by law.
So, but anyway.
Thank you.
This was just majorly a thank you because it was far better experience than I really thought it was gonna be.
I promise we haven't paid anyone to come in this evening, this is the
Nice.
nice.
Thank you very much.
I took photos every day of the bruising that progressed, and now it's in the healing process.
Good, good. Well,
Because,
that got
I
our
mean,
attention,
there
that
are-
helps
There
when
are
you see
two
things.
people in this room that personally know my son, and know that he's for the most part, a pretty good kid, you know, but, you know, he doesn't know.
Thank you.
I'm not speaking for anyone, I'm speaking for
I think you're
everyone.
turning into my son at times.
I did?
I think so. Been a while,
Oh, okay,
it's been a while,
okay.
yeah.
But I'm not speaking for everyone up here, but I mean, you don't offend me by telling boys to go to boys' bathrooms and girls to go to girls'
Yeah.
bathrooms, so.
I just try to put it politely how he actually does it, I'm just saying, but,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, he'll be.
we thank you very much for coming in.
But, yeah, just saying, this is the first time ever that anything's happened to Chris, and he's my third child through this school district. And it just happened to be a free.
And we want him to
It
feel
just,
safe,
it
so.
was determined to be horseplay gone wrong.
Sounds like a new video.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank
That's
you.
all I had to say.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Next up, we have treasure items. Mrs. Bowers, would you like to start?
Yes, sir. Mr. Gabbard, I would like to start with the blocking of A and B for the last two board meeting minutes.
I'm looking for a motion to block A and B, which is minutes of January 13th.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second? Second. Mr. Messerschmidt, Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, Mr. Gabbard, I would like to block items C through E.
I'm gonna look for a motion to block C through E as presented. Financial reports, the new fund, and frontline financial software renewal.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Preston. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Bowers, you call the roll, please?
I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
Duke Energy. How frequent is this?
We get bills from them monthly, and I can tell you a few months ago, they came out and did some work on our meters, misread some things, and we got a very high bill. It exceeded by $262,000. We paid it so that our electric did not get shut off. We came to you, I think, last month with a new purchase order, but now when we have gone back, I have all of these lines separated because I want to be able to if someone comes to me and says, how much electric are you paying at this building or that building? What about gas? What about water? So when we put the PO in, we put lines for every account. So it turns out that we needed more money on the middle school line. So we've reduced one line on the PO that we have, and this is just coming back with the purchase order. We think that's what the middle school will cost for the remainder of the year. For the electric.
This is just, oh, yeah.
Yeah, just for the middle school.
And you guys thought your electric bill was high.
I do just one thing on here, and just would like to kind of talk about it on stage, because, you know, I think we're gonna be maybe talking about it in some of Kelly's comments, but right now, projected revenue versus projected expenditures, it looks like we're coming in at right about 2.5 million surplus this year, but that number, as we've talked about, will continue to decrease over the next several years, and that's part of the reason that we're starting to have conversations around levy. So even though we've got this surplus funding this year, we will still be negative next year, correct?
Yes.
And that's part of that's the reason behind this renewal and the discussions that we've been having.
If that renewal, they tell us not to call it a renewal, substitute. If it does not pass, in the first year, we'll lose about $1.5 million. The second year and thereafter, we will lose about $2.9 million. We'll talk a little bit more with the biennial budget and how this could be astronomical for us. And we don't know, we're in the early stages. I've shared some resources with you today. I will have another video supposed to be available to me tomorrow that I will also be sharing out with the board. I want to share information with our community, obviously, but I don't want to, I mean, it's fearful for all of us, I just put it out there, but because it is so early, we know that it's going to be bad, but I want to wait until they start working through this. There is testimony up at the state on the 26th, again on the 4th. So I do feel like we will make some ground. I mean, they're calling for us to reach out to our legislators and talk to them. And I've written a letter. I've got people trying to write letters. We're doing what we can so that they're hearing our voice. I hope that our community members will do the same.
Are there talking points you can share with us that we can all write? Our letters?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is shared in that folder that I want you guys to take a peek at. If you're a school leader, you would address it this way. So they want you to tell our personal story, like Ms. Gordon's talking about being here in this community, why it is so important to her and why it's important. You know, her kids have gone through, now her grandkids. I have a very similar story. We need to be personal with our legislators and share our story. No school district will have the same experience. And I can tell you initially when the first simulation came out, I thought our district would lose about $690,000 in year one and $1.010 million in the second year. Then when we started running it through our software, they didn't account for all of the property tax increase, and they didn't account for the median income. They flatlined our enrollment, and you have heard us say from one year we dropped 150 kids. That is huge. So when we start plugging those numbers in, it's a lot more than this $1.7 million. Could almost double that if it plays out the way that they're saying that it could play out. I will tell you, this is so frustrating as a traditional public school district treasurer because we are being cut millions of dollars. While you're seeing, like for example, our community and STEM schools, JVS's, scholarships, they're all seeing double-digit increases. And yet 90% of Ohio students, 1.4 million students in the state of Ohio, attend traditional schools. And they're cutting our money, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating. So that's why it's so hard for us to come out here and say, because we know that we have that substitute one on the ballot, but now with the biennial budget, I mean, how in the world, I can't figure out a way right now to wrap my mind around cutting the $2 million that we were thinking, much less you throw another $2.5 million on top of it. where could you possibly do that?
Wasn't the substitute was just gonna buy us a year or two, right? So
We-
is it even worth going for the substitute
Well,
now?
it's
If they
on the
cut
ballot.
funding?
It's on the
I know,
ballot.
I understand it's on the ballot, but if it doesn't even cover our deficit, why even try to pass something that isn't even gonna cover our deficit?
Well, I don't think we knew this when we started.
No, we
this
didn't,
road,
we
so-
didn't, I know.
I think historically,
But I'm saying
renewals
now.
have a better chance than new money. And if you look at Edgewood's history, we've been on ballot 36 times and 29, I take that back. 29 of the renewals have passed and several new monies have not, okay? So we have better luck doing that. The other rationale is that within a few years, the bond falls off. That would be a good time to ask for new money for operating, not for bond, for operating. Now, that was the plan going into this. Now, this is being thrown at us about federal and state funding loss, which I agree, 41% of the community, wait until it's 100%. I think that we can't wait. We have to triage this as we go. The fact that renewals have a better chance to pass than new money, let's go with it. Do a few more cuts. Let's see where the biennial budget lands. It always is worst case scenario. It won't be best case scenario. It'll probably be somewhere in between that. And then just continue to plan. If we constantly push this down the road, we're gonna get a greater loss. I think we gotta stick with
I
our
understand
renewal.
that, but I'm telling you right now, this place is gonna be packed with people saying, I just passed the levy, we just gave them more money.
I agree, but I think this.
Regardless of if it's a renewal or a substitute.
I think this issue's gonna be bigger than a renewal or new money. This is gonna look, if things go the way they're threatening with loss of state and federal dollars, this is gonna talk about reorganizing public education.
Can we even certify our budget even if we passed a renewal?
So
Or a new, substitute levy?
The biennial budget is supposed to be done by July 1st. Not everything I'm hearing is that it's going to happen much more quickly than that. We were able to certify. If they come in at, because you're only looking out 3 years. But again, and it's because we have a positive cash balance. We will still deficit spend next year, and we're gonna deficit spend the year after that.
But we can certify in 3 years.
But we can
Even with the new
certify
budget,
Because
even with the biennial budget that comes out July 1, as
it
is.
will cut in 26.
Okay.
And it's because we have a little bit of cash. But you're gonna see that that's quickly.
It's a Band-Aid, and I think we need to let folks know it's a Band-Aid. And the reason we're doing this is A, renewals have a better chance at passing. B, bond falls off in a couple years. The plan was to ask for new money then, just to be fair to our taxpayers. C, now we're getting a monkey wrench thrown into all of this with changes in rules, which always happens between state and federal law. So we gotta see where that lands before we get too worked up.
And I didn't mean for this to turn into a 5-year forecast discussion, but based off of the
I think it's good
conversation-
learning for our constituents to
And
hear.
like with Lori bringing it up, or Ms. Barnes bringing it up, I think this was a good opportunity to kind of have these kind
It's
of
making me
discussions. and
sweat a
get it
little
out.
bit, Mr.
Because it's real, we're running out of money.
Yep.
And we're running out, we don't have enough students, and the decline in attendance is taking money away from the district. And we've got really two problems. We gotta figure out how to get more students and figure out how to get more money, and that's where this conversation is coming from.
And the hard part is since I've been up here on this stage, we've done nothing but cut. So you think it was hard last time, think about how much harder it'd be this time to try to cut stuff.
Well, and I think that's a whole philosophy we need to hit, and I'd say we've got to keep it away from the students. When you talk about some of the programs offered here today, that's what you do in schools. And I'd say we have to continue offering what we can, cut where we can, knowing we're going into a deficit forecast and knowing that we have to use time to ask our legislators to fix this. This isn't just an Edgewood issue. This is a small district issue. Enrollment's declining across the nation. Enrollment's declining in Ohio. Enrollment is declining in Edgewood. The way the funding's based is we're hurt by it. And we have to ask our legislators to fix the funding issue that was deemed unconstitutional in 1992. We can't do this on our own in Edgewood City School District, period.
In the time being, Andrew have been sitting on this stage, we have lost 2 grade levels in this district. We've lost 500 students in the almost 4 years that he and I have been on.
That's a national thing, it's not just Edgewood.
Where are they going?
Well, first of all, they're saying the baby boomers are dying off and our enrollment is changing. I just heard that at a meeting last Friday. So we're seeing it across the nation, it's not just Ohio.
And the
And
number
people are
of
having less
vouchers
kids.
too have skyrocketed, and that's where the money's going. Just talked with someone the other day, and he said, my daughter's going to private school, I haven't paid anything for 2 years, why not? And again, that hurts us. It's so frustrating.
Our informal data's telling us when people are checking out, withdrawing at Edgewood, we've just been doing this year and through the middle of the year. It's because it's mostly rentals, not homeowners, mostly rentals, and it's going to different, less rent territory, residential area. That's what our informal data is telling us.
All right, thank you all. I'm going to get us back
Go
on
ahead.
track here a little bit.
It's an emotional topic, thank you.
It is, and it's going to be tough, and there's none of this is going to be any fun for us. We know it's coming. So,
Strap on our seatbelt.
is there any more discussion about block F through J?
No, sir.
Mrs. Bowers, would you call roll,
I
please?
thought it was C, D, and E.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a good try.
I was trying to get through that. Mrs. Bowers, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Robert Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0. Next, I would like to block items F through J.
Did we do E?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to look for a motion to block F through J as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second? Mr. Andrew Pressler. My understanding is F is going to come out of the field renovation fund.
Stadium renovation project, that's all private donations if I'm
Yes.
correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
H, I, and J all look like they're going to come out of PI fund.
Which wouldn't hurt to recap that.
Which would be the floors, the redoing of the gym floors, the DeBrawl-Kemple quote, and the Johnson Controls quote. I believe all that can come out of PI, right?
Yes.
So with the floors, though, it's my understanding that they're all getting refinished in terms of sanded and new varnished, but the one in the middle school, the new gym, is getting stripped, repainted, but it will look identical to what it is right now, correct? It's not changing, it will be exactly the same.
Correct. So all of the floors, we do like an annual maintenance on them. They get cleaned and another coat. All of them are oil-based except the intermediate school is water-based, so they just get another coat of sealant on it. The new gym at the middle school is getting sanded, repainted, recoated, a total refinish. So that's the difference there. That one is next up on our rotation. But there won't be any change to the design. They're gonna paint it and it's gonna look exactly like it does now. It's just gonna be new.
How many years has it been since the last? Probably close to.
Since it was built.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Any more?
Well, and just to be clear, the money that we're using from the permanent improvement can't be used for salaries or anything else. It has to
Correct.
be used. Okay.
Thank you for asking that, yes. And there's a certain percentage that has to be devoted strictly for that.
Thank you
I
for
don't think.
clarifying that.
Well, you're welcome.
Isn't all money, it's just different colors.
And you said H through I is all permanent improvement, is G permanent
J.
improvement? Is not.
G would be the only one that is not. And I think it's just because it's just window cleaning.
It's just general maintenance. It's stuff that we haven't, we've taken some years off on things to try to save money over the summers, and it's time to try to catch back up on some general maintenance and upkeep of the buildings.
Any more questions?
No.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Bauer, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, I would like to block items K through N.
I'm looking for a motion to block K through N as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Any discussion? No? Mrs. Bauer, would you call roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next agenda items, O and P, if I could block those, please.
Looking for a motion to block O and P as presented, both of them being donations.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Any discussion? Just thank everybody for the donation.
Very kind.
Very
I'd like to do a quick shout out to our school PTO because they have done a lot. I've asked them if they would start bringing everything that they're doing to the board as a donation because it's thousands of dollars. I'll let you know there's less than, well, yeah, I even have a bigger list. They bought conference dinners in the fall. They're constantly doing things. They bought for our custodians. They just do so much, and I just think that we need to recognize them. It's thousands of dollars and so many hours in time to run these events. They have another one coming up with Taylor Swift themed father-daughter dance. They just do so much good work for our kids. I just think they deserve a shout out.
That's great.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next was just informational items from the treasurer, and I was gonna talk to you a little bit about that biennial budget, but it seems like we pretty much covered that, so,
Is there in conflict? Is that what we're gonna talk about again?
we're just gonna pray for our district and move forward.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowers.
Thank you.
Mrs. Spivey, you are up next.
Yes, I would like to, this is where the agenda is going to be revised. I'd like to propose we block item 6A, OHSSA membership, which is an annual task, as well as 6B, which will be a new B, for an overnight field trip for our DECA students and staff. And as presented, you will see 54 students and 6 chaperones between March 10th and 12th.
I hate to be the one to call anybody out, but why did this get walked into us?
Evidently, it was presented to the high school. This is a Butler Tech program. It was presented to the high school and the wrong form was submitted. Teacher was asked to revise it, didn't realize it needed to be to us last Thursday. And so I made the decision, since 54 kids were involved, we would take it as of tonight.
This is well done, though.
Thank you.
Yes, it is.
No, they probably.
When they're done this well, you can stand them being late.
Pretty detailed. Thank you, Mr. Chastain, for getting that to us.
I have a feeling the administrators may have done
No,
that.
not him at all. Well, we'll give credit.
Maybe
where
Allie
it's
Cassidy.
I need a motion.
Yes, I'm looking for a motion to approve the OHSAA membership along with DECA field trip.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Superintendent items, I will make this very quick. This is Public School Campaign Week in Ohio. I submitted out at 4 p.m. to families our Edgewood information in regard to what makes Edgewood, makes us proud to be a part of the Edgewood district. You will see information about our performance as well as the number of students we serve. And I just want to say that although our enrollment's declining and free and reduced is increasing, we are doing a good job with the students that we get. And I think an extra little shout out to our highly qualified staff that remain highly qualified through professional development. And again, just look at the endless programs that we're offering. So when you say why Edgewood, I don't know about you, but I close my eyes and it's all about what we just saw tonight. You know, it's not only just our extracurricular, it's the things we're doing around positive behavior support. It's our Hope Squad. It's having lower class sizes so that we can do flexible small group intervention. We actually serve students, our English language learners are increasing. I think a couple years ago we only had probably 5 to 10, and I heard as much as 75 today. Those things come at a cost, and they also make us special in what we do. So I think we do really well for the amount of money we spend, so to speak. And another note is, a special note is that Edgewood's noted on the state report card, not the state report card, the district report card, in regard to, can you help me describe this right? We're the top 20% for spending less.
We're in the
for more.
bottom 20% for spending.
Okay, so think about, we're spending less than 80% of school districts in the state of Ohio. Yet look at the bang our families get for the buck. Hope you can take that more to our meeting. So we're all about public education, and so wanted to get some information out. And again, Patty, our treasurer, talked about, we are on the ballot in May 6th to be exact. We have to be very careful of what we say. Why a renewal? It's up, and in order to stretch out our funds, we are so desperately and graciously asking that our community continue to support operating dollars. And the fact that 80% Ohio spend a lot more. Matter of fact, I was in a meeting today. The national average in 2022 per pupil for spending was $15,500. Think about that. Edgewood spends $10,100. So I think we're doing a lot for less, and I just can't say enough. And we deserve to have a renewal passed, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I guess when you're my age, I just did. I just did it.
Thank you, Mrs. Stein.
Hang on. One last thing that's probably more legal than the last is that we were putting together a video to market our school district, and if I could ask Darren to turn the lights out here, it's not finished. There's a few more things we want to add to it, but I want to show you what we have so far. Mark was kind enough to view this for me last week, so it's not going to be new for him. Oh, come on.
Place to be for me because it feels like home. It is home.
I love the sense of family that is in part of the community, and I love how honest and warm and welcoming the students are. They want to get to know you. They want you to get to know them.
I love Edgewood because it provides so many opportunities, whether it's through clubs, academic programs, or sports teams. I love being part of such a dynamic environment.
My favorite thing about being in community service is going to Edgewood Primary School and visiting our Cougar buddies. And we also teach them about being respectful, responsible, and safe.
I love how my school has so many fun clubs and has just a positive and relaxing environment all around so that all the students feel safe and welcome.
There's all kinds of programs you can get into, really fun programs, art, music, a lot of the teachers, really fun teachers here.
Some of the district goals for Edgewood City Schools include be responsible, be respectful, be safe, be together, and also be kind. Hope Squad is helping us do that with all the activities that they promote district-wide.
I love teaching Edgewood students because I like to see them rise. I like to bring them to the place where they don't think they can go. And I've seen their indomitable spirit over and over and over again as they overcome and rise above what they thought they could do. They have incredible potential. I like to see it realized.
Thank you, Jerry. Turn this back on. We want to add a few more pieces to that, but that's our why, that's our story, and we hope we do a better job getting that information out. That concludes my items this evening.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ivey. Next up, we have items from board members. Mr. Messerschmidt, would you like to start?
Yes, sir. So I just would kind of like to comment on the student athletes that we had in here tonight and all the amazing accomplishments that they've got. But really the thing that has always impressed me more than them winning on the field is the fact that they win in the classroom. And there was an email that came out last week. Scott sent it out, and all of our teams, their average is 3.1 or higher. So not only are they doing phenomenal things on the court, on the field, and all those different things, but they're succeeding in the classroom, and they're going to succeed in life. You know, I listened to what Mr. Gagan did tonight, and there was some really awesome energy that's coming out of the high school. And I look at that senior walk with the student on the bowling team who on senior night bowled a 290, and then you ask him what he wants to do next, and he says he wants to go to college for robotic engineering. You know, you just look at the opportunities that, you know, these students have got, and it's really pretty awesome, you know. And then I look at this right here and marketing the district. You know, it's just been a really good year for us this year, and you know, all the things that motivated me to want to sit on this stage was to be a part of providing better opportunities for these kids in this community than I had when I was their age, and honestly, it looks like those things are happening. So it just really a good time to be a part of this district, and it just feels really positive to see all the things that's going on. So just very thankful for what we're witnessing here in front of us.
Thank you, Mr. Messerschmidt. Mr. Pressler? Nothing. Mrs. Ashcraft?
No, anything.
Mr. Pressler?
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to kind of piggyback on what Mark said. I mean, we come in here so many times. There's three of you sitting out here in the audience. You can just feel the buzz when all these kids was in here. I mean, this is what it's about. I mean, that's why we're here. I'm the only one sitting up here that does not have a kid that goes to school right now. But I'm here for kids, and I know they are too. I don't want anybody to think that I don't think it's important to talk about the levy. We probably need to go back and look and see what we can and can't say about the levy. But I do hope everybody gets out and supports it, because we've got a good school and we've got good people that work here. So to finish on that, I want to look for a motion to move to executive session for some or all of the following reasons: to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. So moved. Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second? Mr. Andrew Pressler. Mrs. Powers, would you call a roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yep.
Motion carries
Yes.
5-0. 7:29.
We're back at 9:43. I just messed with you. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
I'll finish it after.
No, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
No, it's all right. We've been here all night. Let's go.
I'm going to look for a motion to approve the personnel items, item A, as presented.
What are you just doing?
Is that Mr. Andrew Pressler? Second by
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Abstain.
Next, I'm gonna look for a motion to approve the substitute pay rates as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the job description index as presented.
And the resolution.
Is that?
C.
We're gonna, let me rephrase this. We're gonna look for a motion to approve the resolution for the reimbursement of overpayment as presented. Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second? Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'm gonna look for a motion to approve the job description as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Michael Pressler, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'm gonna look for a motion to approve the organizational chart as presented.
Are we approving this?
You can look at it.
Do we need to approve
We
this?
had to add a column on it.
We don't
Okay.
have to approve it, I don't think.
I didn't think we had to approve this. Do we need to
Brought
approve
it
this?
for approval before.
I don't remember. Could have been an informational item or approved, I don't remember.
I thought it was just
You know, you
information.
probably open the minutes.
It changes every.
Well, it used to be a Etch-a-Sketch drawing.
Usually, I've had the board approve in my other
That's
jobs.
I'm fine
Because
approving
then they
it.
approve job descriptions
Yeah,
together.
I just-
Can we get this to be like the bubbles with the lines going to another bubble?
We'll work on
We
that.
can work on that.
Where they cross over?
We'll come back.
Put this, okay.
Motion?
So moved.
Mr. Michael Pressler, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bauer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'm gonna look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Michael Pressler, second.
Second.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bauer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Pressler?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. It is 9:47 p.m.